When Osvaldo, a 72-year-old man, decided to buy a car from an auction, his intention was simple: restore it little by little and have something to keep him busy after retirement. He loved old engines, the smell of a workshop, the clinking of tools against metal. The auction was modest, held in a warehouse far from the city, with several damaged vehicles, some salvageable, others practically scrap. What caught his attention was a navy blue sedan from the 1990s, with worn paint but still a solid structure. It was cheap, discreet, and perfect for the hobby he wanted. But something about that car felt out of place. As he approached the vehicle, he noticed recent scratches on the rear door and strange marks on the floorboard, as if someone had tried to remove something from underneath. The seller only said the car had been seized during an inspection and had no available history. For many, that would be a warning sign. For Osvaldo, just another curiosity to unravel in his garage. He placed his bid, won, paid, and took the car home, satisfied. But the feeling that the car hid something persisted the entire way back, as if the vehicle carried a secret welded into its structure. In his workshop, Osvaldo began inspecting every part of the car, from the engine to the bodywork, writing down everything he needed to fix. The interior was stranger than he remembered. There were screws different from the original ones holding the back seat, and a slight bulge under the carpet hidden by dust. When he tried to move the seat, he realized it was fixed in an unusual way, as if someone had added reinforcement to prevent access underneath. Osvaldo scratched his chin, intrigued. That wasn't factory work, and it certainly wasn't something an ordinary owner would do. Driven by curiosity, he grabbed his tools and began working on the screws. They were far too tight, and some even seemed welded. It took nearly half an hour, enough time to deepen his uneasiness. Osvaldo took a deep breath and pulled the seat forcefully, finally revealing what was beneath. A metal box, strapped with thick bands. It looked like a safe, small but heavy, its surface darkened with age. His heart raced. It wasn't every day someone found something like that hidden inside a car bought at an auction. "What on earth is this?" he muttered, wiping sweat from his forehead. He tried pulling the box, but it didn't move. Firmly bolted, it seemed almost built into the car. A sturdy old lock secured the lid. Osvaldo ran his fingers over the metal, feeling a chill down his spine. This wasn't amateur work. Someone hid that safe for a serious reason. Curiosity mixed with fear. Opening that box could bring answers. Or trouble. Even so, he knew he wouldn't sleep without finding out what was inside. Osvaldo spent the entire night thinking about the safe. He tried ignoring it, distracting himself with TV, but his mind kept returning to the image of that metal box under the seat. The next morning, he decided he had to open it. He gathered specific tools: a small blowtorch, pliers, specialized keys, things he used throughout his life as a mechanic. The safe resisted firmly, proof of its quality. Whoever hid it didn't want it found or opened. After a great deal of effort, he finally broke the lock. The lid opened with a creak that echoed through the silent workshop. Inside the safe were thick envelopes, all sealed with tape. There was also a small faded notebook with rushed notes. Osvaldo opened the first envelope and his eyes widened. Official documents, certificates, bank records, large money transfers. Everything seemed tied to unknown names, often accompanied by codes and initials. It was far too much. Information for any ordinary person to keep. The second envelope, however, delivered the real shock. A large amount of money, stacks of high-value bills, clearly hidden for years. This is way too dangerous," he whispered. The notebook was even more troubling. It contained dates of meetings, suspicious nicknames, amounts, references to clandestine transactions. It was practically a diary of illegal activities. The more Osvaldo read, the more he understood he had bought far more than a junk car. He had unwittingly acquired a key piece of a criminal scheme. His throat tightened. Who would hide a safe full of documents and money inside a car up for auction? Why had the vehicle been seized? And worse, was anyone looking for it? At that moment, the landline rang, making him nearly jump. It was an unknown number. Osvaldo hesitated but answered. On the other end, a low male voice asked, "Is the car with you?" He froze. "Who is this?" he tried to ask, but the voice ignored him. "The blue car. Do you have it now?" Osvaldo's heart pounded so hard he could barely think. Before he could respond again, the call dropped. He set the phone down with trembling hands. The conclusion was unavoidable. Someone knew exactly where the car was and that it had been sold. And now they probably knew about the safe too. From that moment, the elderly man went into high alert. He locked doors, shut windows, even turned off the lights to avoid drawing attention. He felt watched. Outside, he noticed a black car driving slowly, decelerating in front of his house. That never happened in his quiet neighborhood. Fear took over. He needed help. Fast. He thought of calling the police but feared being accused of possession of illegal material. At the same time, he couldn't face this alone. It was clear, everything had only just begun. The next morning, Osvaldo decided to seek someone trustworthy. Helena, an old friend of his late son and a respected investigative journalist. When he showed her the contents of the safe, Helena was stunned. She quickly recognized some of the names. Powerful businessmen and public officials suspected of money laundering. The notebook, she said, looked like a clandestine accounting ledger, something capable of bringing down influential people. Helena advised Osvaldo not to touch anything else and to keep everything extremely secure. This wasn't just dangerous, it involved federal-level crime and serious risks. Helena suggested a strategy. Digitize everything, create backups, and only then notify trustworthy authorities. That way, even if something happened, the information wouldn't disappear. Osvaldo agreed, though terrified. She spent hours scanning papers, photographing the notebook pages, and documenting the money. Each image was automatically uploaded to multiple secure clouds with different passwords. As they worked, Osvaldo felt a weight in the air, as if the open safe on the workbench were releasing secrets capable of destroying lives. In the afternoon, Helena returned to the newsroom to consult colleagues and plan next steps. Osvaldo stayed alone, trying to stay calm. Then he heard noise at the gate. He walked to the window and saw two men dressed in black standing outside, staring at his house. He swallowed hard. They weren't salespeople. Definitely not neighbors. When one of them took a step forward, Osvaldo shut off the lights and hid behind a shelf. Minutes later, the men left, but not before taking photos of the house and the car's license plate. Desperate, Osvaldo called Helena, who answered instantly. After hearing what happened, she kept her voice steady but worried. She had confirmed with colleagues that the documents were part of an investigation that had been abruptly halted years earlier, likely due to internal interference. "These people don't play around," she warned. She told Osvaldo to go to her house immediately, taking the bare essentials. He packed the documents into a backpack. The safe stayed behind, empty, yet loaded with meaning. He breathed deeply and left without looking back. Getting to Helena's home took longer than usual. Osvaldo drove cautiously, checking his mirrors constantly. He feared being followed. When he finally arrived, Helena welcomed him with a tense expression. She had convinced a federal prosecutor she trusted to look into the case. The meeting would be that same night, in a discreet room inside the courthouse. Osvaldo had never dealt with anything like this, but he understood now that he couldn't run. The truth had to come out, even if it cost him courage, time, or even his life. At night, Osvaldo and Helena met with the prosecutor, a serious, experienced man. When he saw the digitized documents, his eyes widened. He immediately recognized several names and clandestine operations he had tried investigating in the past. Everything made sense now. The seized car, the hidden safe, the halted investigations. The prosecutor arranged immediate protection for Osvaldo, emphasizing how witnesses were a priority in high-impact cases. "What you brought here can take down a millionaire scheme," he said gravely. They were clearly dealing with something enormous. While they talked, the prosecutor received an urgent message. Federal agents had detected suspicious movements by individuals connected to the criminal network in the area. They might have discovered the meeting. Tension rose instantly. Helena held Osvaldo's arm, trying to keep him calm. The prosecutor quickly organized an escort team to take them to a safe location, a protected witness facility. Osvaldo felt his heart racing. Everything was happening too fast, too dangerously. But there was no turning back. On the way to the safe house, a dark car suddenly appeared in the rearview mirror, accelerating. The agents reacted immediately and turned onto a secondary road. The pursuers tried to follow but lost track on a sharp curve. Even so, the scare left Osvaldo shaken. It was proof that they truly were being hunted, and that the material he carried had immense value. The agents reinforced that protection would remain until everything was made public. Days later, the prosecutor held a press conference revealing the entire criminal operation based on the evidence found by Osvaldo. The story exploded nationwide. Headlines exposed powerful names, investigations were reopened, and arrests began. Osvaldo, still under protection, watched the news from a secure location, feeling both relieved and saddened. He never imagined buying an old auction car would place him at the center of a corruption scandal. Now, the truth was finally emerging, and with it, long-awaited justice. Months passed, and Osvaldo's life gradually returned to normal. He received clearance to return home, now protected and monitored. The auction car was seized permanently for investigation, but he didn't mind. The adventure he lived wasn't something he wished to relive. Instead, he kept the digitized notebook as a reminder of his courage, and how an ordinary man could accidentally change the fate of many. Sometimes, sitting in his yard at sunset, he'd think back on everything and smile. In the end, an old car had revealed a treasure far greater than money: the truth.